Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, talking about the Sensex, BSE along with PTC and ICICI Bank recently filed a petition with the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission to launch a power exchange. Ashishkumar Chauhan, the MD and CEO of BSE, joins in to detail these plans and to talk about a whole host of other issues. Mr. Chauhan, good morning and thank you so much for joining us. First, if you can just start by telling us, about this power exchange, what is the expectation from this launch? How large do you think this segment could become?
So basically, India has had power exchanges for last several years now, and one of them is also listed. The power is a very important commodity in a way, and India is slowly becoming surplus in some parts and some deficits in some other parts. There are also issues about payments and so on and so forth in the long-term contracts. So there is always a short-term trading where surpluses are there that is required, and we have seen some success in one of the exchanges, and one of the exchanges not doing so well. So we have always had plans to get involved in that framework as and when the opportunity arose, and today we have got good partners in PTC, who is basically the most experienced player in terms of the trading in this market, and ICICI with again one of the larger lenders in this market. So we three combined to begin with, but of course later on a lot of other people will join in because it's an exchange. So of course you will have many more owners going forward.
Okay, Ashish, good morning. So tell us, since you're a listed company now, what kind of numbers can it generate, this kind of product?
See, basically, it's going to be a separate entity. It's not a part of BSE. It's going to BSE is only going to be a minority shareholder because whenever you set up institutions, they are not like majority owned, and the regulations also do not permit.
Okay, even if that's taken on board, I just wanted to understand the kind of business potential which is there in something like this.
See, basically, some of these exchanges could be making 100-200 crores of profits every year, even now.
Okay.
And so when India grows up, the markets actually become a little more organized. Things could be even better, but it's not only basically power that you can trade. Later on, you can of course ask the authorities for additional energy products and so on and so forth. And that could also be applicable to even international markets and at least in the region and so on and so forth. So there are many possibilities which we need to explore, but first we need to set up the market and sort of see how it works out.
Sure. Just some more clarifications. Will there be a revised timing for trading activity both in equities and derivatives? I mean, there's some talk that from the 1st of October, the timings could be revised. Can you clarify on that?
Currently, the way we understand it is only derivatives are allowed, equity derivatives. We have applied for that. We have yet to get the approval. So as and when we get the approvals, we will see, of course, in GIFT City, India International Exchange, which we run 22 hours a day. It starts at 4 in the morning, closes at 2 in the morning of the next day. And we have not seen any issue at all in terms of operating capabilities. So we are pretty comfortable running longer hour markets. Internationally also, if you look at the New York Stock Exchange also, many people tend to think that New York Stock Exchange runs only for very few hours. No, it starts at 7 in the morning. It's called pre-market, but it trades like normal market only.
Yeah.
And then there is a pre-open, which is basically nothing. And then the normal market works, and then post-market also works till almost 9 or 10 in the night. So effectively, those markets run almost 15-16 hours across the world.
Sure.
And Indian investors have been denied that. There has been a lot of discussions. I don't know how finally it works out.
There was a report that perhaps it's getting pushed, right? Because the market participants may not be ready by October 1, Ashish.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have also read the reports, and in fact, when we were trying to set up NSE in '94, that time a lot of market participants had opposed automation. Later on, when we set up depositories, a lot of market participants had opposed depositories. So all reforms have always been opposed by some or other minor, very vocal people. But who knows? Sometimes they are able to basically postpone the inevitable and also against the investors' interest.
I tell you where the criticism is coming in from. you're saying only derivatives contracts. I can understand that Sensex futures and Nifty futures should be available for trading at all times. I mean, yesterday we had a market holiday and there was just too much of a gap. We had a big move, for example, in emerging market yesterday. So that point is taken. But stock futures without underlying being available for trading creates a bit of an imbalance, especially for arbitrage players and for, overall market health. That's been a bit of a criticism.
Even stock future, the normal stocks also can be potentially allowed, but again, similar arguments will come, and so we are kind of doing chicken and egg. Both should be allowed potentially, if not one, at least one allowed, and then second may be allowed. So for us, we are neutral to it. We had not asked for it. But once that has been sort of announced, it's in the interest of Indian investors. But if some people are able to get it postponed, why not?
Okay, there's also some confusion with respect to this whole ASM framework and the timelines involved. So, on September 1st, the criteria was revised, which led to a lot of stocks like Pfizer that entered the list on August 31st, exiting on September 7th. Where normally you have scripts remaining under ASM for at least 2 months before review. Can you just clarify this confusion? Can this whole process be streamlined a bit?
See, basically it being a surveillance matter, I wouldn't discuss this in public, but
sure.
Effectively the regulations get formed, they get revised over a period, and that's how you might see 1 or 2 issues here and there, but overall, these are all long-term kind of frameworks. They stay for
But will the criteria be reviewed anytime soon?
They do review once in a while because based on the feedback and so on and so forth. There is a mechanism through which the regulators do review this kind of regulations.
Okay, now since we'll have a commodity also aligned to stock exchanges, what's your thought process? Can you give NSE a run for its money over the next 6 months or 1 year? Equity derivatives, of course, is a segment where of course they are far ahead. But are you confident that you have the products in place to give the NSE a run for its money?
See, we basically do work hard. We have good technology, we have good people, we have good distribution, and it's up to people. Our sort of costs are lower, and we have been able to do very well in many businesses like SME, even in mutual fund distribution. We are now larger by almost 10 times. Even currency derivatives, where we entered much later, we have been able to be larger market now. Even interest rate derivatives, offer to buy, offer to sell, we are like 90-95% of the market. So effectively, many newer areas, we are like the market.
Yeah.
And we hope if people like our offerings, our ways of doing things, some of them may shift. And we are in some ways not in competition. We are basically, all of us are in compliance business.
Yeah.
Finally, people may continue to pitch us as some sort of competition. We are not. We have to cooperate with each other every day to ensure the markets run. Every day they open, every day they close. All the surveillance measures, settlements happen together. So I don't see that too much of a sort of, probably we may compete 5% of the time, but 95% of the time we have to cooperate, and we should stay within that kind of framework.
That's very magnanimous of you, but and I take the point that at least the BSE website is really very user-friendly if you compare it to the others. There's a, I had discussed this with you earlier also. Any kind of tie-up, we say, or M&A activity, we say something like an MCX, to take NSE head-on.
No, we are currently not envisaging any inorganic kind of an activity, including any merger of any sort. We do want to work in what I call larger number of areas, but we are doing it organically. As I told you, we are also trying to get involved in distribution of insurance with EBIX, which is the largest sort of exchange of insurance in US. And so we are getting involved into many more areas than what most people would think traditionally exchanges should do. But effectively, currently, we have no plans to do any inorganic activity.
Okay, finally, then you said that for round-the-clock trading, you still need some more approvals. By when do you think